Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the BNR Racing Network. Tonight, as we are here for the Bearded Bear Customs Fix Cup Series. Today at Homestead, Miami. I'm going to go over the race information real quick. As you see here, we're in Homestead, Florida. It's 1/4 mile, almost 1.5. Current track temp is 105 degrees. The weather outside is 83 degrees Fahrenheit, 64% humidity, clear skies, 11 mile per hour and wind. They get 75% fuel, 120 laps, which is 180 miles. 4 tires, 0 quick fixes, and 3 attempts at a green-white checker. So, the wonderful Homestead. We love it. And 9 times out of 10 brings you good racing. Right on board with Justin here. Huh? It just keeps switching around. But Homestead, I'm not so much a fan of Homestead. Never really liked the track. Just not my cup of tea. That's for sure. But a lot of people are saying it's very tight. Some can wrap the outside better than others. So just wait and see here. Don't mind me, I'm extremely tired. Next week,
Tired here.
are at,
Very.
oh my goodness.
Yes, iRacing Super Speedway next week.
Yes, that is gonna be a doozy. I don't even know what to say about that track. It's a good track, I like it. But very steep turns. It's like Bristol turns, but steeper. And yes, I'm just gonna leave it as that. So far as I noticed so far, that Jaden was the fastest in practice, wrapping that outside lane and really straddling that wall, like the Larson wall, like up there, and like you won't be able to put a paper in between. Oh, speaking of them, I guess that happened there. So that does happen. Anyway, phenomenal Homestead. Well, how much
Yes,
time
Homestead, Miami.
Okay, you go.
Do what?
Oh no, I was seeing how much time of qualifying. You're good, but go ahead.
Yes, Homestead, Miami, Brian. That's where we are this evening. It originally was basically just a smaller version of Indianapolis. Basically a 1.5 mile configuration of Indianapolis. The original owners are the original, people that built the track, designed the track. They just wanted a small Indy, right? And that's initially what they started off with. That's initially what they built. All 4 corners. It was a rectangular 1.5 miles, right? And then throughout the years, it's either been increased with banking or just it was flat after the rectangular configuration went away. It turned into a true oval track, and then the oval kind of got banking to it. It was very similar to what original Las Vegas looked like. Las Vegas was just an original flat 1.5 mile track. You really had to roll through the center of the corners at Vegas. Here, you had to do the same thing. You really had to back up the corner entry, but then they added that progressive banking all those years later. I want to say 2006 was when this track had the reconfiguration to the banking, and it played host to the final race of the season for so many years, right, Brian? The trucks and the Xfinity cars were the first stock cars to come here. Kart and IndyCar have raced here. IndyCar has also raced on the infield configuration, Brian. Also, the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series have raced here. Trans Am, just about everything in North America has raced here.
Yes, yes, sir. That is very true. Very good information. A lot of things I didn't know. Anyway, the starting grid is P1, the 5 of Chris Cornett, P2, Matthew Hunsaker, P3, Jason Pearson, P4, James Hudson, P5, Brian Schwartz, P6, Pete Woodrum, P7, Chris Campbell, P8, Joe Stipe, P9, Tyler Myers, P10, Jayden Sanchez, P11, Justin Stees, P12, Aaron Bradford, P13, Brandon Moore, P14, Cameron Smith, and P15, Randy Bousquet. It's gonna be a nice, hot, slick track. 120 laps. As they get ready to pull off the pit road here. We see some stalling out a little bit. Anyway, Homestead. Let's see what kind of race this brings.
Yeah, about 45 to 50 laps. The drivers told me sitting on pit road, 50.6 laps on a full tank. So once they get up to speed and everything, Brian, will be about probably 46, 45 laps on a full tank, give or take. You know, some are going to be able to save better than others. It is the fixed Cup Series tonight on Thursdays, so it'll be a bit harder because...
But yes, fix it. It's a lot harder to finesse the racecraft, so...
And this is pretty much a day. I don't know if you have it set up for a day to night transition, but I already have one car going sideways out of turn number 2. It's very simple to do that coming out of the corners here at Homestead, where, like we talked about, being up on this high banking, I want to say 20, or not 20 degrees, but I want to say it's like 18 or 22. It's progressive banking, so as you go higher up the track, it gets pretty tall up there, Brian. So you're very similar to like what we talk about every time we go to Texas or Dover. You're constantly turning that wheel, right? You're keeping it at a certain angle. We see more drivers just losing it out of turn number 2 there.
Yeah.
So able to gather it up, keep it straight. Yeah, like you talked about, this track is notable for being slick anytime you come here, so it is so easy to just kick the car out, especially mainly turn number 2. Turn 4 ain't as bad. It's just something about turn number 2. It's always been oh so tricky, as we know, Brian, so I'm watching the IndyCar replay that they're currently doing, but anyway, let me back out of that.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's definitely a doozy.
That Campbell almost got caught on that.
No caution, I don't think, for that either.
No.
I think they were just able... Were they able to catch it?
Yeah, Randy caught it.
Oh, is that Brian Swartz?
That is.
Oh, the Swartz was not with him tonight, Brian.
No.
Oh, he also. Who did, Hudson?
Look
Who
like
was that? Oh, do what?
Was it Hudson?
Sorry, Brian. I don't know. He came across the nose of somebody, but I couldn't see the car that he kind of came across the nose of.
Boy, they are.
Of course, whenever.
They are all getting loose.
Yeah, and it's mainly having to do with that turn number 2. There's a bump, Brian, right as you make that transition from turn to straightaway. So that could be what's catching these drivers out as well. They're just not used to hitting that bump being up that high, possibly. If you hit it just right while you're still turning, while you still have that wheel angled, you're still trying to come off the corner, it will catch the car out. It'll bottom out the car. That unload or that load of suspension, it'll just bottom out that front end, kick the car sideways, and that's what we've seen from a handful of drivers already.
Oh yeah.
Chris Cornett currently in the lead by a couple of tenths over Jason Pearson. What did you say, Brad? My apologies.
I was just saying, JP actually got on by Chris.
Oh, yes, he did. But Chris is going to fight back here on that bottom side. JP's got some good running on that outside. Really all about momentum at Homestead. Really, it's one of the few mile and a halves where you do have to have that momentum on your side. Not every mile and a half is like that, but Cornett, he was in the middle of the track and still kind of didn't quite navigate turn 2 all that well that lap. Man, very, very tough time of it that these drivers are having to deal with this evening. And Cornett has lost his right front fender, Brian, so that was a hard enough impact that the fender has just said, nope, I'm gone. I'm leaving you today. He was running pretty well. He was up leading, a few laps. Before Pearson got up there, took the lead away from him. Man, oh man. So, Jaden just got by Matthew Hunsaker for a second position. Hunsaker comfortably riding in about third, fourth position. And a big slidey moment for Cameron Smith that last time by turn number 2, Brian. So, how hot is the track temperature, Brian? As you see here, Cameron Smith getting a run up onto the back of Hunsaker. We're going to have to see if Cameron can keep a good control on his car. He's had a few laps where he's just coming out of turn 2 like a few of his competitors, just gets a bit slippery. Now finally closing in on the back of Hunsaker fully. Homestead can be another track where you have to conserve your tires. It's really worn just about like how the old Atlanta used to be, almost, not quite, but it hasn't been repaved in almost 20 years, right, this Homestead surface. So it has a lot of characteristics of itself and aged, as you might say, like fine wine, as far as, being kind of like a driver's track for the most part. Like Brian said at the top of the show, not everybody is going to like Homestead, and I really feel like it's one of the mile and a halves where you do have to really concentrate harder than normal. Like say if you was at Las Vegas or maybe Texas. Texas though, that's another rhythm mile and a half, but modern Atlanta with the repave, the reconfiguration, and all that. Uh, you don't the only thing you're worried about is really staying with the draft or being in the pack, right? Um, Here, it's all about really trying to conserve the tires to make them last the fuel run, right? The stint that you're trying to or reach. In this case, about 45 laps today. So, two looking at two scheduled pit stops at least for these drivers here this evening. Slowly, somewhat becoming a race of attrition already. Austin Moore is out of the race. Joe Stipe sitting in the pits. He just got out. He's 11 laps down. So, Randy, he's 3 laps down. And Cornette, after repairing that car, is 2 laps down. And like we talked about, Brian Swartz having a spin towards the inside retaining wall just a few laps into the race. He is as well 2 laps down. So 2 cars currently 2 laps down. Good little battle group going on here for the final step on the podium. I know it's only 15 laps in, but third, fourth, and fifth, you have Cameron Smith in the 9, Matthew Hunsaker in the 6 there, Tyler Myers in the 8. Like I said, that's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Looking a bit further back through the field, riding on board with Christopher Campbell in the 68 machine here. As you see, like I talked about, after you get about 10 laps or so on the tires here at Homestead, you really have to let the car roll through the corner, back it up if you have to, really. You already hear how far Campbell gets out of the throttle. At the moment, just kind of being a bottom feeder on that bottom lane through 1 and 2, kind of held the middle in 3 and 4. So almost 100 laps to go. Once we get to the lap 20 mark, we'll be 100 to go. Lap 21. And Jaden is slowly reeling in JP as Myers and Hunsaker having a brawl for the 4th and 5th positions. Cameron Smith trying to drive away from those two as he's trying to potentially chase down the 2 race leaders, but still having a bit of trouble doing so. Hunsaker trying to stay ahead of Myers. But at the moment, Pearson only has a half a second lead over Sanchez, who, as to be expected, kind of closing in that gap to Pearson. Good to see Pearson up front leading here early on. Hopefully he can have a good, strong piece to maybe still contend for a podium position. We might get to talk to him at the end of this one. You never can tell how these races are going to play out. Smith kind of almost falling back into the end. Yes, that big slide is going to help him fall back into the clutches of Hunsaker and Myers. That's going to allow those two to get by him. Now Brandon Moore is now knocking on the door of 5th place, and indeed goes around 5th place of Cameron, well, trying to go around Cameron Smith at the moment. So good battles all throughout the field still.
Is it going to work? There we go. Sorry, I was
What
talking.
happened?
I was talking this whole time and nothing was coming through.
Was I even coming through?
Yes, yes, you were.
Oh, okay.
It was just me.
I've heard that before.
As I was saying, was when I was on board with Campbell, I'm like, make sure you go like and follow. I'm like, all right, well, I guess Will's just gonna talk over me.
Yeah, I didn't hear you for the longest time. Like you had kind of stopped talking at one point, so I'm just like Brian, and then you probably replied to me, but like you said, your mic was
Oh,
on.
Cameron. Oh, slippy. But anyway, that link that I posted up is the sponsor of Thursday night series, the Bearded Bear Customs Fixed Cup series. So give him a like, follow, share, TikTok. TikTok name is I'll put it in there. Where are we at? Right here. Go out there, give him a follow on TikTok. See what he's all about. The website there, you can get custom things made. Go out there and help him out. He does great work. He's a very cool guy, very laid back too as well. So now that you can hear me.
Yeah, I thought you might just had. I thought maybe mom or dad might have walked in or something. I didn't know. Just kind of waited.
Nope. But here I am.
Yeah, I just kind of like normal. I was just playing it out,
Cameron.
waiting for you to. He's gonna keep on till he goes and parks next to one of those RVs in the infield, Brian. I feel like he's just keeps flirting with disaster, as they say. As Brandon Moore taking P3 away from Hunsaker now.
Oh yeah. I was sitting there dating and found his way to the ground. Of 120 in the book, so roughly 90. Oh, there's the caution. Right back on board here was Cameron. Oof. Yeah, he broke something, that's for sure. That is absolutely probably what happened. Very unfortunate, but first caution of the night. See here as all the drivers gonna come down to the pits.
Ample opportunity, to come down and get at least your first set of tires on the car after being out here for 27, 28 laps, green flag running, and these cars been a bit unruly, right? So.
Oh yeah. Jaden Ryan, Brandon, Hunsaker, Justin, Chris, Woodrum, Hudson, Bradford. Very interesting first few laps. We've been seeing the loose conditions, Will.
I must think that that's how that's going to be the whole night long, the whole evening long here. Just how kind of kick sideways these cars can get coming out of turn number 2. Not so much out of turn number 4. Kind of just depends really about how the car's truly handling, right, Brian? But I've always felt like turn number 2 was always the troublesome corner or just a calamity corner, more or less, right? So.
Oh yeah. But I raced in Super Speedway. I didn't know if they picked it up before, but that's going to be a doozy of a track. So.
And a very wide, unrestricted super speedway like you talked about. And it's definitely going to be a thriller to watch. I've been looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. It can provide good racing, I would say. We see there JP won the battle off of the pits. But he's got Jaden right behind him, and then Brandon Moore, and then Matthew, and then Justin, then Campbell, then Pete, then Hudson, then Bradford, then Myers.
So 10 cars on the lead lap. Schwartz gets one of his laps back, Brian. So
That he does. It's going to be interesting to see. Oh, Brandon had a blinky blinky. And the green flag's off. Campbell with a bobble down there.
yeah, but luckily he was able to catch it. Good save.
Oh, there goes Hudson. This track can be tricky, that's for sure.
Kind of like what you were talking about earlier about just being up on that high line. It'll just you're turning the wheels so much that the car just kind of wants to kick out on the corner exit.
That rear. You see Tyler Myers up there running the outside lane. Looked like he got in the wall a little bit there. But that is not going to stop him. Well, you see Matthew hitting that wall a little bit. Gonna force Bradford to go to the inside. Matthew had a little bobble there before. And there Matt goes, getting loose. They're all getting loosey-goosey. As you hear how much throttle control these boys have to have with riding in that dirty air.
Dirty air definitely plays a big factor whenever it comes to racing here at Homestead or any mile and a half, any really track truly, Brian, that you can kind of manipulate your competitor's racing line.
Oh yeah. Matt has that good bottom run. I don't know if he keeps it going into 3 and 4. I think he straddles the middle lane in 3 and 4. Yeah, the 34-2 by Matt. Last lap was a 34-1-1. Somebody's way off there. .41 of 120 in the books.
I'm kind of not really letting Jaden drive too far away. He's only a half a second back of Jaden at the moment in time. Brandon Moore, he's only a second and a half behind our race leader. So Brandon, JP, they're probably really riding that conservative line at the moment, as Pearson's actually taken a couple of tenths out of the Sanchez lead. But then Jaden reeling it back out. So fluctuating lead between the top 3 at the moment. Tyler Myers, he's mired back about 2.5 to about 3 seconds, Brian. So Aaron Bradford setting currently in P5, taking the final spot of the top 5.
Yes, he is. Good run by Aaron.
JP and Jaden, they're back having a battle. It looks like JP, I think, might have got crossed up on the exit of turn number 4, lost a couple of more tenths, but he was right there at the trunk lid of Jaden a while ago. So Josh has a doppelganger out here, and he just doesn't know it. There's been a couple of times I was going to call Hudson Josh, and I'm like, nope, that's not Josh tonight, Willie. Don't do it. So don't want to get any extra 88 flack from Josh. So 44 laps in, so just about halfway through, almost halfway through this run. Because if we remember right, Brian, the caution came out at lap 25. They came down, or 27. They came down about lap 28, 29, and pitted so they could go. Let me see here. Let's do some more math. They could probably go to about lap probably 70. Let me see here. I'm going to say between 65 to 70, Brian.
Yeah, that's about roughly.
Maybe 75.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because they told me, like I said, like 46, 50 laps, right? So they would have had to have, like, if they could have went caution free up until this point, right? If they would have been able to start making green flag action pit stops. Something has happened to Bradford. He has fallen 5 positions, Brian. He was sitting comfortably in 5th, and then maybe just had a twitchy moment coming out of 1 and 2 or something. Not 100% sure, but he's dropped down the totem pole. Has 3-car breakaway up the front of the field, under a second between the 3 podium place cars at the moment. Yep. Had just a wild moment going through 1 and 2. Luckily, though, he was able to keep it off of everybody and out of the walls. So just kind of straddled. He got those left sides down on that flat, Brian, and just kind of straddled that paint with those left sides. And you know that you can't really do that. The cars are going to start to get upset, kind of either maybe want to come around on you or maybe even shoot up the track. So luckily, great car control by Bradford, and he was able to wrestle that car back straight again.
Yes, he has. But look at JP, he's trying to keep it ever so slightly close to Jaden. Not really letting Jaden really run away from him. But Brandon's also keeping it close too as well. Just like that reels Brandon in closer to these two.
Yeah, great to see JP up here having a solid night.
JP. Oh, Brandon with a bobble too as well.
And like I said, turn 4 is not as bad as turn number 2, but just like that, you were able to see it'll still catch drivers out, right? So that back end, the front end started to almost swoop away before the back, but nevertheless, JP caught it. So excellent car control from JP as well. All these drivers out here tonight, sometimes you just don't get to catch it, sometimes you do. 3 drivers out of the race currently: Austin Moore, Randy Busquet, and Cameron Smith currently out of the race. Brian Swartz still trying to fix that car that he just bent in the inside retaining wall out of turn number 2. So.
Oh yeah. Like I said, Jaden was quick in practice. Jaden's got a hot rod.
Well, I feel like he's going to have to fend off Brandon Moore with a stick, possibly.
Yeah, because Brandon's right there.
But this is definitely another one of those tracks similar to Vegas, though, Brian, to where, like, if you get enough dirty air dumped on you, you can't really make any more forward ground up. But Brandon, he's really taking advantage of how his car is handling on the bottom of the track through the corners. He's getting all the way downstairs, just about almost all the way to the paint. But great bottom work for Brandon, trying to just make that car wrap down there the best that it can. Really working out for him, I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
Closing in on 55 laps into this race, Brian, and only one caution of asking.
Yes, sir. Brandon can really straddle that bottom seam, like on that white line there, whenever he gets there. So that's getting him to get that momentum from the bottom and that good run off of 3 and 4. So
in the orange amp car from a couple of weeks ago. So hasn't really felt like changing it. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably, if I found that orange amp car, I'd probably stick with that the entire time.
Right.
So JP not really losing too much ground over the two first and second place men, as Tyler Myers and Matthew Hunsaker almost 9 seconds back, 4th and 5th position. Justin Steves trying to close in on Hunsaker. That got a 3-car battle for 4th place if you look at it. So Myers, Hunsaker, and Steves. So Pete Woodrum and Christopher Campbell battling for 7th and 8th. Hudson and, just Hudson there in 9th. Bradford about 10 seconds away, in danger of going a lap down.
Yeah.
A bit of 3 wideness there, Brian, for just a millisecond.
Justin has put in a lot of practice this week, and we see how well it's doing for him, so love to see it. Good job.
Well, you're not going to run up front if you don't put the time and practice and effort in. Is he running a Toyota?
Yes.
He is. Well, I remember him saying he was going to do that, so that's funny. You don't really see him running, Toyota cars, really. It's normally Chevrolets, right? So, what, Brian?
I say he normally talks a lot of smack about the Yodas. That's why it threw me for a loop when I found out that he was in a Yoda. Oh, Pete.
It just looks weird. Oh, yeah, you're right. Pete had a moment coming off of turn number 4. Don't know. iRacing just said you don't get to see if he saves it, but always wonderful whenever the camera wants to cut away. And this is kind of exactly what I was talking about earlier about, the competitor in front of you kind of controlling your race line, right? Like dumping the dirty air on your nose, kind of keeping you behind him, really. Because once you get that dirty air dumped on you, you could be, just a wee bit quicker than that person in front of you. But whenever you get that dirty air dumped on you, it's going to stall your car out more than likely, right, Brian? So that's going to impede your rhythm, your speed. So 60 laps in, like we talked about, only one caution of asking so far.
Next time by there, we'll be halfway.
Yep, we only have 10 cars still on the lead lap, like I talked about. Bradford in the danger zone. Now he's 27. Danger zone. So, in just a few more seconds, he will be lapped by the leader, as they have basically a turn gap, like turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, etc. gap away from Bradford, the two race leaders, Brandon Moore and Jaden Sanchez. Now Pearson finally fallen off the two race leaders. He's 2.5 seconds back now, Brian, but he still can see them, unlike Tyler Myers.
Yep.
Now we have one of the JS's. Okay, yep, indeed. Joe Stipe is also pitting this time as well. But like you said, Hunsaker pitting. So he's going to be the first car actually on the lead lap to start this cycle off. It's a few laps too early, I feel, Brian, like if you're Brandon Moore, Jaden Sanchez, Pearson, Steves, Myers, I feel like it's still just a wee bit early, Brian.
Yes.
Because like I said, I feel like these guys should be able to go to around 69 or beyond. I don't see why they couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know why Matt put it.
It was almost a wasted trip up to Jackson today, Brian, but luckily it wasn't. So I only say that because, like I said earlier, as that expression goes, Daddy got him a new pair of shoes, right? But
yeah, got you them. Hold on.
I saw them and I'm like, oh, I had to have them. Like Porsche, my favorite car company, car manufacturer, right? And it's like the 50th anniversary of the 911 turbo, right? And yeah, and man, I saw like the manager. I was in there Tuesday. I was looking for a hat, and like the hat store was closed for an hour. And the manager told me, well, we're getting like Porsche shoes in like either today or tomorrow. Like I saw that they had like BMW stuff, and I'm like, oh well, that's cool. Like I wish you guys had Porsche stuff. Like, and they're like, yeah, we actually getting some Porsche, stuff in. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I bet you I wouldn't be able to afford those, but luckily they're actually pretty reasonable price. So
there goes Bradford,
first ever.
one lap down.
First ever pair of Pumas I've ever owned, and man, they feel comfortable. I truly endorse them. I've been wearing DC shoes for almost 20 years. It feels like.
Pumas are comfortable.
Oh man, they are very comfortable. Like I said, been wearing DCs for like a good 15 years.
Now I don't know if Brandon's saving or.
Yeah, it kind of looks like whenever Jaden started, dumping that dirty air on him, he couldn't really get beyond the point of getting alongside him, right? He got alongside of him on corner exit a couple of times, but just couldn't get enough oomph to eventually complete that pass. And then Jaden started really doing some good defensive driving, right? Dumping that dirty air on Brandon. And, now Brandon, like you said, don't know if he's kind of conserving a little bit, waiting for a pit stop to happen. Like I said, I'm kind of expecting them to be pitting anywhere from 69 to 75 or so, maybe 77. So, like I said, don't know why Hunsaker pitted so early unless the car was just so unruly with that set of tires, possibly.
That could be. He might have wore those tires out a bit. Well, that possibly could have what happened to Matthew, because you see him get a little confused in the back tires after slipping and sliding quite a few times. So.
Yeah, once this pit cycle finally cycles out and everybody makes their final pit stop of the evening, what we suspect to be the final pit stop of the evening in Matt's case, I think he's going to need a splash or maybe a caution perhaps to get him home, right, Brian? But I feel like, man, it's going to be depending if they can get past lap 75. Everybody should be good, right? For the no,
Yeah. It's
no.
gonna be close. It's gonna be very close. Boy, I gotta do the 12
Yeah.
hours of Sebring tomorrow.
Well, best of luck to you. You know those, endurance races are always, always something. And they always they're now, especially nowadays. For at least the past 15, almost 20 years, they've been nothing more but just a long sprint race, right? Because everybody, all the days of reining it back to about 75, 65%, 50%. All those days are long gone, right? And it's all about that 10% commitment nowadays. About do you take the chance of throwing it alongside somebody here or there? What part of the track do you need to really attack, right? So
Yep. Put in quite a few practices, so I think we should be alright. Anyway, Tyler Myers there, P5. Chris Campbell right there. Woodrum is right behind him, so this is 5th, 6th, and 7th at the moment. He's got a little tire debris on his windshield there. One little speck of rubber. Oh, Tyler with the getting loosey. And he came back. He did blink a little bit in front of Campbell there. You see Jason Pearson now making his scheduled pit stop. Tyler Myers now going in.
yeah, I think Brandon was just kind of cruising a little bit, just like you said, conserving a little bit more, waiting for that pit stop to occur. And maybe he might be a bit more on the attack once he gets that fresh set of tires on that 88 machine. This battle is still not over yet. There's been no checkered flag flown, so the race is still ongoing between Sanchez and Moore. Pit stops, though, like we always say, are the great equalizer, Brian. So they have a good, 8-10 second gap roughly, if it is to stay the same once both these drivers come out of the pits.
Oh yeah. The problem is, well, how long do you want to stay out? Is the question.
Well, I wouldn't want to stay out no longer than 4 or 5 laps, because the fresh tires, depending on the track and the conditions, can really overlap you, can really undercut you, right? And even though you may have, let's say 5 to 6 lap fresher tires, than some of these competitors. Like, that's why it's going to hurt Hunsaker so badly coming in and pitting, you know, might as well say 15 laps before everybody, right, Brian? Like, yeah, he's got fresh tires, but later on in that stint or in this run, it's really going to kill the performance of his car. So as we look at the track temperature now, the temperature outside the race car is 82 degrees, but the track temperature is at 100 degrees. So that, you know, that's basically 20 degrees hotter than the actual, you know, degree temperature, right? So it's a man, 13 mile per hour wind gusts too, Brian. So, oh my goodness, these drivers are having to deal with it all out there, not just do what? Yes, Jaden into the pits. Yes, thank you. So Brandon's going to stay out either one lap, maybe two. I don't suspect Brandon to stay out too long.
Well, probably an extra lap or so. Oh, he's coming in this time.
And that transition from the banking onto the flat, we have seen it in the past, has really got some drivers out of shape before. So, got to be careful making green flag pit stops here at Homestead.
Yep. Flat cycle, Justin Steves out to the front there. But under that last caution, he did drop back down the pit again after making his first pit stop, so he can probably run a little bit more longer than some.
So Jaden getting on and off pit road, having a lap fresher, you know, Goodyear Eagles than Brandon Moore. That's going to give Jaden about a 2.5, maybe 3 second lead, Brian. Yeah, 3.5 second lead, Brian. So just have to wait and see, you know, if the one lap fresher tires is going to be able to benefit Brandon. If he's going to be able to run back down Jaden. We have, what is that? Let me do math again. Just under 30, no, 40, just under 40 laps to go, right? So,
yep.
38 to go, right? 30, yes, 38, 30, math. 37 to go.
This math can sometimes be a little tricky. "36 laps left."
I didn't want that. Anyway, yes. So I'm still surprised. Only one caution tonight. You know, at Homestead. You know, like you talked about, it's such a slick, greasy track. Sometimes, not every time, but like we were seeing earlier on in the race, it was catching a handful of drivers out, and just surprised we didn't see like a gnarly crash because of it. But Hudson is the only driver, one lap down at the moment.
That he is.
Pete Woodrum and Christopher Campbell, they're kind of in the danger zone of being a lap down by the race leader, Jaden Sanchez. But they have a good, you know, like we talked about earlier, you know, they have a couple of corners to go before Jaden eventually will run them down and catch them.
Yeah, but Jaden's setting the pace, looking very good. Brandon is ever so slightly running him down, not by much. Brandon lost some time there.
Well, just trying to get up to speed on these cold tires, Brian. You know how tough it can be trying to come out the pits on cold tires. Then you got to wait at least a good, sometimes 6 to 8 laps before the temperature finally gets up to par with these tires, right? So sometimes it may even be longer than that.
Yep. But Jaden's got a very good line going for him. But he put quite a few practice laps in yesterday. Was trying to find a rhythm, and magically tonight he found that rhythm that he needed. So
He must have got the blues.
yeah.
Old Johnny Cash song, you know, get rhythm when you get the blues, get rhythm.
Oh, Johnny Cash, the Man in Black.
Indeed.
91 of 120. Matthew is hovering in that P4.
Well, 91 of 120. We got 30 laps to go, Brian. So now that we're done with the pit stops of the evening, we can step aside and do a crank it up portion of tonight's broadcast if you would like.
There you go. That sounds good. And here you guys go. Enjoy.
And 20 laps to go. Jaden Sanchez still in the lead. Brandon Moore 2.5 seconds back. This set of tires not looking to be his friend as far as like just not coming up to snuff for him. Jaden putting a couple of lap cars in between himself and Brandon as well. So that's exactly what you want to do if you've been a dominant car, been the race leader all night. You want some space. You want some good gappage to the person you might consider to be the biggest threat. Everybody up to up to sixth place is a lap down currently. Tyler Myers is the next driver to be in the danger zone. So Justin Steeves and Jason Pearson having a battle, though, for the final step of the podium with 19 laps remaining. Third and fourth going at it at the moment as Justin getting a good run around Pearson. Now, we do know Justin Steeves here is on the freshest of fresh tires. So getting by JP here late in the going, not really a surprise if we've been keeping up with everybody's strategies. Justin was one of the ones last to pit. So JP was one of the, I don't want to say one of the first lead lappers, but he came in before Jaden and Brandon, so.
Yes, he did. He stood out an extra lap more than Brandon and Jaden.
I thought it was 2 laps, or I thought it was 2 or 3, but.
I think you're right. It might have been 2. $15 laps to go.
$15 laps to go, and I tell you, Jaden's pretty much been in control of this race ever since lap 21. So he's had a stranglehold on this field all race long, Brian.
That he has. He's got a good car, good everything. He's been on point, that's for sure.
So got a glimpse of Tyler kind of tagging the wall in corner exit that last lap by turn number 2. So Brandon Moore, or Jaden extending his lead over Brandon Moore by about 3/10 of a second. So it's fluctuating between 275 to 3. That would be Pete Woodrum. He was the second car 1 lap down behind Christopher Campbell. So 7th position, but Pete able to keep it straight. Don't know how, but he was. That was an amazing save and catch by the number 2 driver. As Jaden slowly reeling in Tyler Myers to put the 5th place car 1 lap down. This is what you get here at Homestead when you only get 1 caution of the night. Maybe if we only would have had none, everybody but 2nd place would have probably been lapped, maybe, Brian, you think? So.
Yes, I agree with you, Will.
Maybe let's give Justin the benefit of the doubt because he is only 16 seconds back, so he might have would have only been maybe 20 or 25 back at the checkered flag if it would have went green, maybe, right, Brian? So he had a really, I liked Justin's strategy from what he was able to accomplish tonight, right? So looks like might get a podium. Like I said, still 10 laps to go, so still a few miles left to run in this race. When's your stints for tomorrow? Are you gonna? Is your stints?
I am doing I am doing the 5. I am doing the 5 to 5 to 8.
Yeah. I was only asking because Friday Night SmackDown, right?
Yeah. Don't you remind me.
Brandon Moore taking a couple of tenths out of the Sanchez lead, but I think that's mainly just Jaden backing down a little bit, perhaps, maybe, knowing he has a comfortable lead, or maybe that could just be Brandon trying to get all he can get out of the car late in the going, perhaps, Brian. It's either or at that point.
Yeah, Brandon Moore is 2.6 behind. Slowly wheeling him in with 7 laps to go. Yeah, I'm like I think it's like 5:45 to like 8:45, and then JP takes over from 8:45 to I think 11.
What are you guys using?
The Porsche.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, the Porsche 992 GT 3R.
Yes, the 911 992.
Yeah.
I don't know why they need 2 different number abbreviations for a car, but yeah, whatever, Porsche. But yeah, coming to 5 laps to go this time by once Jaden gets to the stripe. Impressive run by Justin tonight. Like we talked about, practice always makes perfect. I don't know how it can't. You know, that always seemed to help us all the time, right, Brian? So, you know, that's what we talk about when you're not. Yep, get all the practice you need. You know, people that only want to jump on and you know, race, and it's like, hey, you know, in order to be able to be there at the end of these races or contend for wins, like, you got to at least log some type of practice in, right? So I'm not trying to knock or bash the people that just show up to race, right, Brian? But you at some point, you got to put in a little bit of effort, a little bit of practice to be able, like I said, to want to be. Everybody wants to have a good race, you know, a top 5, like we talk about every race. You have to have goals for yourself, and you know, Brandon, within 2 seconds, just under 2 seconds. So, I don't know what's going on here, Brian, but 3 laps to go. Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have just been Jaden navigating the traffic.
Could be.
So, 2 laps remaining this time by for Jaden Sanchez. Brandon apparently just didn't have the speed tonight, or just didn't have what it took to dispose of Jaden when he was able to be up there riding, like basically all over his trunk lid, right, harassing him, but just couldn't get the right lane to get by him. But I also saw, Jaden took Brandon's line away at one point too. He, like we talked about, he got down there and had to do what he had to do to kind of fend off the threat of Brandon. White flag
Yep.
up in the air. Final lap of asking here, Brian, 4th and 9th race this evening. As you can see, Joe having a huge moment, but able to catch it on the final lap. That's, fantastic, because, you hate to run all this time and then bend it on the final lap. Jaden Sanchez coming out of turn number 4, and he will see the checkered flag first. Brandon only 2 seconds back, finishing in second place, and Justin Steves finishing the final step on the podium in 3rd position. I guess it was that Toyota horsepower or that Toyota power, Brian, that we're just going to have to bash him for not being a Chevy like usual when we get to talk to him. Just be prepared, Justin, if you're listening. And Jason Pearson, consistent as always, JP, finishing on the lead lap and finishing inside the top 5. And Christopher Campbell rounds out the top 5 in 5th position.
Yes, in 5th position.
COPD struck.
There is your race results. Jaden Sanchez P1, Brandon Moore P2, Justin Steves P3, Jason Pearson P4, Chris Campbell with a top 5 finish. There you go, buddy. P6 would be Tyler Myers. P7 would be Pete Woodrum. P8 would be James Hudson. P9 would be Joe Stipe. P10 would be Matthew Huntsaker. P11 would be Aaron Bradford. P12 would be Chris Cornett. P13 would be Brian Schwartz. P14 would be Cameron Smith. P15 would be Randy Busquet. And then rounding out the rear is the man who didn't start, Austin Moore.
Oh, Austin didn't. Yeah, okay, he was 120 laps down, so yeah, good. He definitely didn't start. So, Brian's going to wrangle him up with our handy-dandy cane, and we'll talk to our podium finishers here. We're going to start off, hopefully, with Justin and work our way up now that's hard for me to say, the totem pole, up to our race winner, who is burning it down, doing his victory celebration here, Jaden Sanchez. So,
I don't know.
Justin.
There should have been. Ask Jaden. He watches the broadcast as he's racing.
Right? So, do you think it was the Toyota horsepower, like the Toyota power, that got you this podium finish, Justin? He wasn't in a Chevy tonight. I gotta hound you for it. You said you wasn't gonna be in a Chevy. I kind of forgot about it until I saw you in a Toyota, and I was like, yeah, that's right.
And a man does not run his Baja Blast paint scheme without being judged.
I'm just messing with you. But fantastic race for you tonight, man. Homestead, you've always ran well at Homestead for the most part, right? Whenever you and Cameron weren't trying to put each other in the pits. But Homestead, it's a very, for the most part, rhythmic track, very much just like the original Atlanta layout, kind of how Las Vegas is raced today for the most part. Sometimes, not all the time, but, for the most part. But also harping back to Atlanta for a minute, you almost have to drive it like old Atlanta once the tires start to wear off, like the car truly comes to you in that sense. with the way that this track is, aged over the years, since its reconfiguration. It hasn't been repaved since its reconfiguration, right, Justin? So it has its own characteristics to it. So just walk us through how the preparation was for you, and being able to just bring her home in third tonight. I can't stop talking.
I mean, well, if I'm going to be honest, I had enough time at work to watch a YouTube video of how to actually get around the track.
Right.
And it was more of preferred lines to bottom. I never shifted into fifth gear. I ran fourth gear the whole entire race.
Really?
Trail braked into one and a turn three, let it settle down to the bottom. Exit off the four, it's a little bit easier to get back on the gas. Turn two, you kind of had to finesse the gas a little bit, and as I say, I was just running the same line every single lap. Lap times really didn't fall off that much. I think before I pitted on that last run, I was still hitting in between like a 34 flat to like a 34.4 before I pitted on that last stop. Bottom line, best line to save tires.
Yes, bottom line, best. Yes, indeed. So, iRacing Super Speedways next week. What's your thoughts about going into a place with unrestricted, access to basically the engines, and just drafting comes into a bigger effect there, right? Because of just how wide the track is and how fast you can be going at that place, Justin. You've never really raced at Coca-Cola Super Speedway? iRacing Super
I have not raced at iRacing Super Speedway, so they put it into the game. Or the sim, not bad, iRacing.
Right. Well, it was originally a track in R2003. It was called Coca-Cola Super Speedway, or Coca-Cola Speedway. And all they did was basically just remaster it, I guess you could say. Just, that's all they did, and just rename it, they just made it look better for iRacing and everything. From everything I've ever got to see there, it looks a well of a fun track. It looks like a fun time, right? So that's next week over here on the Thursday side of things. So final thoughts, shoutouts. Justin,
I feel like that iRacer Super Speedway race is going to be, whoever doesn't get a cop in all the big grips is probably going to be the one that wins the race. Because from all the Twitch streams and everything I've seen of it, it is a crapshoot, to say the least. Anybody can win. Right.
And not having a fast repair as well in the B&R Cup series of series, really, you almost have to, what approach do you take? Because I know some drivers like to be up in the pack, and others, especially even if you do have a fast repair, you have a handful of others that just like to ride around whenever it comes to the drafting, super speedway races. So, yeah, you don't know truly what to expect, but like you said, it to be a crapshoot, right?
Yeah, basically, I mean, probably best approach for that race is going to be you either need to be the lead car, or you need to be grouped up with a group of guys towards the back of the pack, separate some from the main pack, so there's being a big accident, all y'all have enough time to blow up and check up and everything, so you're not trying to Talladega Nights or Days of Thunder it through the wreck, not be able to see anything.
So now we get to the final thoughts and shoutouts now, Justin. So final thoughts, shoutouts, anything else you'd like to add, buddy?
I would like to thank you and Brian for streaming the races, and I also like to shout out my sponsor for I can't believe I'm going to say it's my Toyota Camry for the night's race, the Mountain Dew Baja Blast scheme.
Hey, that Toyota represent.
Hush, Brian, I don't want to.
It's a miracle what happened when you got in a Toyota.
I mean, I just like the paint scheme. I can't help it was on the Camry. Don't judge me. I'll be back in the Chevy next week.
I'm
Or maybe
sure.
I'll be in a Dark Horse. Who knows? I might run all three and be like Rick Willer Racing when they don't know what manufacturer they want to be.
Oh,
Yeah, all those handful of years ago, they were everything. Yeah,
Ford, Chevy, Toyota.
I was waiting for them to be a Dodge, right? So
It's like, who are you?
exactly.
all right, bud.
Uh,
Awesome job on the P3, sir. You did a hell of a job tonight. Keeping the car underneath you, I think you might have. I don't know if you slipped up at all this whole race. Not too sure. I know a
nope, I
lot.
finished with a 0x.
There you go. Some were slipping and sliding, and you just kept it straight. So best of luck to you at iRacing Super Speedway, and we'll be talking soon.
Alright, thank you guys.
Yep, yep. Mike Skinner now. Oh,
Yes.
hold on, I'm moving to the wrong one.
Well, there you go. Dale Jr., got a copy.
I got you.
Oh, sounds like you're eating.
Yeah, we got some Sour Patch Kids. Yeah.
Oh, there you
yeah.
go. Well, you know, it was a doozy of a race. Only one caution tonight. I thought we were going to at least see maybe
Yeah,
two or three after
fun.
all the sliding. Yeah, like long, grueling green flag runs, right? So, you just never could run down Jaden on that on the final run home. Like, tell us about it, Brandon.
I just found the top too late. I jumped in the session like 2 minutes before it started. Like, as soon as quali ended, I jumped in the session and started from the back, and I just pretty much was learning the whole race. But yeah, I wish I'd have found the top sooner. The top really helped when I started running up there. But yeah, Jaden run a good race. He done good. He did really good aero blocking too when I got to him on that one run. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good race.
So another one of those weeks where I don't think you qualified, Brandon.
No, I literally joined the session 2 minutes before the session. I got done.
Oh.
Yeah, I washed the car and got the inside cleaned up, eat my Chick-fil-A, and I looked at the clock and it was 8:25. I'm like, we might make it up there.
You just let the time slip away. So, yeah, I thought, man, that caution there kind of, I don't want to say helped you, but really get you closer to Jaden because you were.
I wanted to stay green, to be honest.
Yeah, that would have been wickedly cool.
Because Jaden and forget who else was up there, but they were fighting Jason, they were fighting pretty hard, and I was just kind of chilling. And I caught them with tire savings, so if that rotation would have kept going, to me having the freshest tires, I feel like that would have been more beneficial. And I could have got by Jaden without him being able to aero block me. But anyway, yeah, it's fun.
Next week, iRacing Super Speedway, Brandon.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you know, Justin says he has no experience whatsoever racing there.
I've never raced there. I don't even know if I own the track unless it's free.
No, I don't think it's free. I'll tell you what I told Justin. It
must
it
be
was
that Bidenomics at work.
Well, it was originally in our 2003, basically the grandfather or the father of iRacing, right? Like NR 2003. Yeah. It was basically a fantasy track. Well, it is a fantasy track, and it was called Coca-Cola Super Speedway or Coca-Cola Speedway.
Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube and stuff. It looks like a pretty crazy kind of place. So to be honest, when I say it looks like a crazy place, it looks like death. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I asked Justin, like, are you going to be one of the drivers that may not be up in the pack or be in a distant pack, just kind of riding around waiting for the race to come to you? Because that's sometimes what you do at the drafting, super speedway style tracks. You normally let the race come to you, and then you go for it if you're available at the end, right? So, what would be the mentality, and well, I basically already explained it, but go ahead, Brandon.
My mentality is to be far away from everyone. No, I'm kidding. We'll probably just hang on to the back draft, and if we're there to make a charge at the end, we'll make a charge. If not, we'll kind of get through the final wreck and get whatever spots we can get, and hopefully it's a good points day.
Well, final thoughts, shout-outs, anything else you'd like to add, Brandon, before we let you go celebrate this unfortunate P2?
I just want to thank everybody who showed up to race. Congratulations, Jaden. He drove a good race. Old Steve's drove good tonight too. I think that's his first podium of the season. So that was a good little P3 for him. Glad he was able to get him a good run in. But I just thank everybody who came out to watch. But that's about all she wrote.
You said Justin's last name. I thought you were talking about somebody else for just a moment.
Oh,
I'm like,
Steve?
who is he? Yeah. The way you said it, I'm like, who is he talking? And then I'm like, Justin. Yes, okay.
This is one race he can't say his catchphrase.
Well,
Hey, yeah, you're right. Yep. You can't say his catchphrase.
Nope, can't do it.
hold on, wait.
Can't say
This is the first race where Cameron didn't door him into the pits.
That's true. That's very true. I think it's because Cameron quit, but I don't know. No, I'm giving Cameron crap. He's all right. I won't badmouth him.
Well, we're at Bristol this coming up Saturday in the Open Cups.
I like it.
That's
no.
Just got to remember who made these schedules.
Oh, I'm not worried about me. I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about what's around me.
Right, everybody else. All those bowling pins.
There's a lot of bowling pins. I'll tell you what, we need those tires from the spring race to be out there. I'm a good tire saver. I'll let everybody blow them tires.
I mean, the way it looked this past Sunday, I had to, Sunday and Monday, right, Brian? So, if it's anything like the Sunday, Monday races I called, like, oh boy, we are in for something. But like we say all the time, you never can tell until you get there. So, best of luck to you, next week, next Thursday and this Saturday, Brandon, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of them.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We can do it again. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna put me on another special throwback. I think for Bristol, we're gonna do another old school
Mountain
junior
Dew, DW throwback that Dale Jr. ran. Maybe wink, wink.
How did you know that was what I was thinking of? You spoil my surprises, Will. How dare you, sir? That was the one I had in mind.
I'm just as big of a Junior fan as you are. Come on now. Junior fans think alike, okay? Like,
that's true. I love that paint scheme.
Well,
I had the hat for that paint scheme too. I still got it.
Well,
I had the hat and the die cast.
I want the die cast.
Xfinity race at Bristol in the fall.
Is he running it again?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
please do.
Yep.
I'll go watch, and please don't get on fire this time.
Hopefully his fire suit don't catch on fire.
I was so upset. I was there, and just the enthusiasm melted from my face. He was leading.
He had a very good car.
Yeah.
Oh, he could have won that race.
Oh yeah.
It was him or Allgaier.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, we'll catch up with you in a bit, Brandon. And like I said, best of luck to you at Bristol and next week at Coca-Cola Super Speedway. I don't, it's tough to call it iRacing Super Speedway because I first known of it in NR 2003. But anyway, yeah, we just can't seem to ever get rid of you. I know you just every race you just always just about finish on that podium. Just you always dying to talk to us. But
Oh yeah, that's the goal. If I don't talk in the booth, it's not a complete night. I feel like something was missing.
And he ended up putting the pieces together
hopefully you're
tonight.
not too mad at me over making you miss the truck race last weekend. I kind of talked you into racing, and I thought you might have been mad at me. But
Nah,
anyway,
nah, I ain't mad at. I ain't mad at you. You're full crap. Can't be mad at
yeah.
you.
Oh, wait.
Hey, I look
Maybe
at it
tomorrow we
this
can play
way.
some COD or
I,
something.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't have to get out, so I saved gas money. I didn't have to buy their expensive concessions. So for the money that I saved not doing all that and having to get out of that traffic mess, I probably saved money for that little bit of money I wasted on a truck ticket.
Right?
Yeah.
All
Heck,
right. Well,
you get one bite to eat it over there. You got to take out a new
New loan.
You got a new loan or remortgage your house
mortgage.
or what have you. They're golden chicken tender baskets. That's $300.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds about right. That does.
And then you get like 3 tenders.
Yeah.
Oh, that's highway robbery.
It's like
I know.
$24.
I know, it's ridiculous. And it's like you want a water with that? How much is the water? $10 for water.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
All right, but we'll catch
Well-
you later. I know Jaden's dying to get in here. We're just gonna keep him down there in the waiting room.
Yeah, we got to get our Terminator robot in here so he can do his little spill, and then we'll close it out for the night, Brandon.
Terminator robot. Where'd you where do you even get that from?
Well, I don't even have to ask him. He just starts firing away on me. I'm like, oh man, I don't
I was
even
about
get
to
hardly
say,
nothing.
he's probably too little to be a Terminator. He's like a mini-me, like Terminator. He's like the Terminator doll, like the big Terminator gives his Terminator son. He's like the doll, like.
Yeah,
I could see it.
I gotta get the mini me. Yeah.
Nobody cares if he comes back. He says I'll be back. He's like I don't care.
Oh boy.
Just punt him out into the lava like the original Terminator. It's a football
Right.
kick. I don't know how we get on these tangents.
Oh, we
always
just go
good.
down a rabbit hole.
It's always good.
All right, we're out of here. Go get Jaden. Go get your Terminator.
Yep.
Alright, but awesome job on the V2.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep,
Good night.
Yep. Everybody's
Uh,
probably like, man, these guys are terrible at saying goodbye.
9 times out of 10, yes.
Yep. Yeah, we are. Oh well. When you just like talking to everybody, you just can't help it. Anyway, our race winner finally getting to Jaden.
Little
What were you
Terminator.
gonna say, Brian? Yep, little Terminator here. Really put, as Kyle Larson would say, an ass whooping on everybody tonight, Jaden. So, you took the lead away from JP at around lap 2021 laps into the race. Brandon started to close in after the first caution and be probably the biggest threat of the night besides JP. JP, strong run if it wouldn't have been for Justin with the freshy tires taking the podium away from him in the late going. But anyway, Jaden, like I said, dominant performance here from you tonight. Just tell us how you did it, bud.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, practice helped. I was
Right.
really trying to dial the car in for the top and bottom and middle because Homestead's not one of my best tracks. So, it's just really trying to tire save and see what brake bias and all that stuff worked well. Because it's just about tire saving pretty much here. Because it kills your tires. So, yeah, no, I was just experimenting and yeah, and that's pretty much it. And come to the race. Well, come to the qualifying. I killed both my laps, hitting the wall and then pushing. So that didn't really help my case. And then when we started the race, I was like, all right, well, I don't know if I want to push and then save or lay back. So I pushed maybe the first 3 laps, and then I just rode for like the last like 17. And then once I passed Matt, I started to try to like inch in on JP. But really, this track is just like a not only tire saving, but it's kind of like a what's it called, mind game kind of track. You have to like search for different lanes or grooves to see which is fastest, which can what lane can also help you tire save the best. So yeah, no, I was really just staring at Brandon the whole race, just trying to make sure like, all right, well, if he's on the bottom, I'm going straight to the bottom. If he's going top, I'm going top. I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna
we
let him have the opportunity to use a lane I wasn't familiar with. So
Exactly. We saw you kind after that caution came out. He drove up to you. You guys were almost in a battle, right? Like it wasn't intense or nothing. It was just present. And but you started to take his line away and doing exactly what you needed to do to make sure that he stayed behind you. You did exactly like superb defensive driving, right? And that, like you just talked about, that's what you got to do sometimes at these mile and a halves, especially here, Las Vegas. A couple of others kind of come to mind as far as like just once somebody is closing in on you, well, that line's working for them. Let me take it away from them. Let me dump that dirty air on them. And like I said, you were doing that to pretty much perfection, right, Jaden? So you had that jotted down tonight. Like I said, just dominant performance. You led over, if not over 100 laps, close to it, right? Like I said, you took the lead around
yeah,
lap 21. So it was close to 100 laps tonight that you led, 90, probably 95, 98.
93.
Okay, 90. I just wanted to give you a couple of more. But yeah, because there was a pit cycle there that we had. Anywho, but next week, iRacing Super Speedway, Coca-Cola Super Speedway, whatever you like to call it. But, if you've ever raced any races there, Justin and Brandon have no experience there. Do you have any experience
Nope.
there? All right, it's the third person in a row that we got to talk to that has.
I think I've done one race there, and that was like when I first started, but like I don't
Right.
remember the layout or anything. So
It's like a 3.5 mile. I think it's a 3.5 mile, like basically like Talladega / Darlington esque track. Whenever I say Talladega mixed with Darlington, I mean, like, if I'm not mistaken, right, Brian? Like one side of the track is shaped different than the other, but it's just longer, and it's just like I think it's got like an absurd like 38 or 36 degrees of banking, some wacky number like that, right? Like it's a fantasy track. It does not exist in the real world, right? So it's a great track if you love adrenaline, like just going fast. You guys should be topping out at over 210, 220 next week, I do believe, because if I'm not mistaken, iRacing Super Speedway is an unrestricted track, so you don't have to have tapered spacers or restrictor plates on the engines there. So are you going to be in the mindset of wanting to be in the lead pack, or maybe just be in a like a straggler pack, just waiting for the race to play out or come to you, so to speak?
I don't know. We'll see when I get there. I honestly think. Sorry, honestly, I can't speak today. But yeah, no. I think as long as I keep the car in one piece, I'll be all right. Top 5 will do it for me. I'm not familiar. I know with the track, so I'll learn maybe in the next coming weeks. But
And
yeah.
yep. And also, this coming up Saturday in the open side of things for the B&R Cup Series, Bristol. So Bristol, baby. Saturday. So, me and Brian called a race Monday. I called a race Sunday at Bristol, and they you know, almost very similar, eerie similar to almost how it was on, Sunday in the real world. I thought it was kind of eerie, like just creepy how iRacing kind of either, I guess you could say, predicted, or kind of like it. I guess all you had to do was race that week at Bristol, and you could have predicted how the Cup race was going to go. Is what I'm trying to say, Jaden. But yeah, hopefully, you can keep this momentum still racking up on your side. These wins, these podiums, these good finishes you've been having as of late, right? So,
Yeah.
just keep that momentum on your side, and we'll be talking to you more. Thanks for talking to us again tonight, by the way.
This
Final thought.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to say final thoughts, shout-outs, anything else you'd like to add before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, no, I think Bristol's going to be awesome. I have something to. I have something I can. No, sorry. I have a chance to do something I don't think I've ever done is win all 3 races in a week. So I didn't think it was gonna be possible if I didn't win Dega, but somehow I did. So now
Yeah, you can sweep this week. That's right.
So yeah, no, we'll see. I mean, I know I have a good setup for Bristol. Been testing there all week, so it's gonna be interesting. I think really, I mean, you're gonna have like guys like Taylor, Brandon, dialed up. I believe Brandon, though. I'm not sure if Brandon has a penalty or what to serve, so it should be very interesting with me and him. I know he's quick at Bristol. He has a lot of wins in this league. So yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna enjoy it. Hopefully, this no quick fixes is really interesting to me this year. I mean, last year when we had them, I would always wreck, but this year, I mean, I've kept it all together. So very surprising, even for myself. But yeah, now we'll go into next week trying not to die and. Hopefully we can win again. I don't know, just keep racking them up because then we got Pocono and Auto Club, which are 2 very good tracks of mine actually. So it should be very interesting with the experience I have. So yeah, and then shout out to you guys, obviously. Little Terminator. But yeah, no, yeah, no. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to everyone that came out tonight. So yeah. But until next time, yeah, we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Well, little Terminator out there terminating the field once again. Like I said, congratulations on the win here tonight. And hopefully, like I said, that momentum will stay on your side moving forward. And like I said, thanks for talking to us.
Yeah.
And go celebrate that win here tonight, Jaden.
Thanks, guys.
Pretty outstanding. Yeah. Indeed, like we had real good, we had a 27 lap opening green flag stanza to this race, and 1 caution of the evening for asking, so pretty great, outstanding race. I was expecting, like I said earlier, at least 3 cautions for Homestead, because Homestead normally can be a pretty tricky place to try to conquer. And didn't really see the cautions tonight as we take another final look at the race results here tonight. But just outstanding race. These guys always know how to get it done, no matter the track or the situation at hand. So, like I said, congratulations to everybody who showed up tonight. And thank you each and every one that tuned in and, rooting on your favorite BNR driver in competition tonight. Just an outstanding race. Just great finish. Jaden just lights out all night long. Had them kind of just, I wouldn't say, completely at bay, but there was times where he was really pressured by Jason and Brandon here tonight. So he did have to work for it at times. So forward on next week, iRacing Super Speedway. I'm sure, Brian, that'll be a doozy of a race too. Once everybody. Oh yeah. So Super Speedways and short tracks bring out the best in everybody. So like we said, 1-5 Studios this Saturday. Myself and Chris Camary will be there to bring the action from Bristol in the BNR Bearded Open. Bearded Bear Customs BNR Cup Series there at Bristol. So until